What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's Tuesday. You know the drill, and you never know who will pop in. I do have my sister here chatting away like a crazy woman. This week for wrestling was pretty good. The pay-per-view for War Games was phenomenal. Raw wasn't. So, I mean, I think the favorite parts about War Games was the women's match, just the entrance and the theme song, and how having just in general having Ozzy's theme song to start was poetic at best. It's interesting to see what they're going to do afterwards, considering Austin Theory is going to be a part of it and everything else. So we'll see what happens, you know. So, random stuff happens here all the time. So, but hopefully everybody's doing good. The matches in general, like I was trying to get into detail, was interesting. Shotzi coming out with the tank and everything, it was really good. The aesthetic of the tank was pretty interesting too. So we'll see what happens. If it's just like a one-off thing or something like that. So hopefully, I'm exhausted, by the way, too. Hopefully it's not, and they keep using that tank over and over again. It's a lot more wider, more pleasing aesthetically. So we'll see what happens. But my God, the spot with Ember on the double move, on the triple move from the buckle was really good. The spot where you had, using the tools and everything else, Rhea and Raquel were amazing in that match. So it's interesting to see how everything goes. We'll see what's next from there. So if anybody feels like popping in, pop in. Let me know. It's an open forum tonight. You got with the match with, Tommaso and Thatcher, that was a clinic for me. I loved every second of it. Just for the hold for hold and stuff like that. And it's a different ending too to the match where you had Willow's bell instead of, fairy tale ending is it. And the stare down at the end was perfect. And it looks like they're leaning towards going towards more of a Thatcher and match compared to, having Ciampa go off after the title. I'm looking forward to see what they do with Thatcher because there's so much talent behind it. And it's going to be fun to go from there. I don't know what will happen with their story, but I'm very interested to see what happens. So, we'll go from that point on. But I mean, it was a long pay-per-view with very short matches going on. So, and then the whole thing with Priest, and I'll admit I was wrong. Leon Ruff being champion at 2020 at the end was really interesting, to say the least. But for me, I was a lot more curious to see and understand how are they going. With everything else in the world happening, it was kind of like a bright spot with everything what he went through. I mean, starting from, just somebody who was not considered worthy of being a champion at all, and then all of a sudden almost ending 2020 as a champion. That is really awesome and really cool to see about what they're going to do with him next. I think they are high on Leon itself, but it's going to be time to tell what's going to happen. From that point, it was just a brutal match. I mean, Priest trying to literally save Leon was a hilarious concept. Trying to push him away and say, hey, what are you doing? And just looking at him like a big brother, kind of be like, why? What's the point of you doing it? It's going to be interesting where they put Priest from this point on, because Johnny now having the title, having Austin Theory in his back pocket, it could lead to Priest going after, Johnny, but where do you put Theory in this whole process? It's really ridiculous to see how things are going to go and what's going to go from there. I'm hoping they give Johnny somebody else to run with and maybe Theory turns on him. But we have NXT tomorrow and we'll see what they do with it after the numbers for the ratings, which, WWE has claimed that it doesn't mean much. To just, come on in and see what clout it has or what meaning it has for those ratings. AEW did really well last week. Their ratings were through the roof. They were almost at 1 million, getting towards that point, and that from that Moxley Omega match, which what I've been hearing is phenomenal. And they did their usual numbers on Wednesdays. So I'm interested to see with War Games and this Wednesday night what they will do to get even with AEW. NXT itself is going to be fun. They did a video of Cross, which I'm expecting huge things from Cross. I'm expecting stuff that I've never seen him do. That light flashing with the clock and the buzzard sitting there saying tick tock. He'll probably be back by New Year's Evil, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes right after Finn and saying I didn't lose the title kind of concept. I'm hoping they actually do really good and give Finn Cross to give him somebody credible to give him his title. O'Reilly was a credible opponent, yes, but he wasn't as credible as, say, as Cross, who was a previous champion. It would be the same thing if Keith Lee said he would come back and he wanted the title. Well, but I'm hoping something good comes of it. I can see, Finn turning around and saying that, hey, we need you to feud with Cross, and Cross brings up maybe the Demon. I mean, it could be a possibility to it. If it does happen, then that would be an interesting point, because with way NXT is now structured and how the COVID situation still is present, it's going to be more prominent that every little bit of NXT being used on the main roster. So with Rumble coming around the corner, I could possibly see them taking some bits and pieces of the NXT talent and have them work kind of like what they did with Ciampa, Gargano, Black, and Ricochet, and have them work a little bit here and there. If you have anything to say, just say it in the chat, and I'll reply to it. Yeah. So, but then you have the next match going into it, which, God, freaking the main event. Oh my God. So many awesome things from this main event. It was ridiculous. McAfee was brilliant in it. I thought that Dunn was strong throughout the entire match. Also, obviously, the EU is freaking the EU in War Games and stuff like that. So, hopefully, it's going to be good from there. The spot with the tables for each individual one was kind of funny how all that was going. Just with the names on there with O'Reilly, Fish, Strong, Cole, that McAfee was pulling out. That Swanton bomb from the top was really good. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with McAfee from that point on. The reason being is I think McAfee wants to get into it more. And if that's the case, where are you going to put him? Because eventually what will happen is that you're going to run out of places for McAfee to go to. And what are you going to have him do? A kind of like a Goldberg contract where he does 2 times a day and stuff like that, it's going to be fun to go from there and see how much effort he puts in. It could be one of those things where, he decides to, come in, wrestle, make a build up, be the mouthpiece he is, like he is for the brand, and just go from there. But the timidness, it just seemed at the beginning, they were like, no, not yet, not yet. It could have made the match more interesting if he was just like all in there, first person in there, and you had him and Cole, and the rest of them just ran it right behind him, because you'd give more eyes on the beginning of the match. Whereas, the ends were like repetitive, super kick, elbow, another move here and there. It's really physically interesting to see how all that happens, that they're building up on that. And, the Panama Sunrise attempt McAfee did was botched, not botched in the sense of it didn't, go well or land well. It was like he tried, didn't get it. Cole hit it perfectly, like as usual, and tried for the pin, and it didn't happen. And then during the match, all the weapons and stuff like that. I laughed so hard when they actually bought the cricket paddles. That was interesting too. It seems like they're going to keep going with this. If they do, they need to do it at the Rumble. Make that part of, the spectacle of it. Bring NXT like they did with Survivor Series and actually pull the trigger on it. So if they do it, it's going to be good. But UE wins. There's something else that's going to happen to go from there. It's yeah, I saw that too, Ron. They were McAfee had the head. It's like he's seeming like he's going into the whole thing full swing. And if he does do that and they keep doing that, then it's going to be fun to see where they lead to this. If he's still going to claim and have the net brace on for a while, then, we'll see what goes on. Again, guys, open forum. Anybody wants to pop in, let me know. More the merrier. It's going to be fun today, regardless. Rob wasn't that great. I mean, they're trying to make Lee. It would make more sense, like keep making Keith Lee a heel eventually, but I don't think right now is the right time, just because of how much he is. And this is going to segue to what one of the things I wanted to talk about. That documentary was phenomenal. If you haven't seen the 24, it is one of those ones you need to watch. It literally is on par with the Liv Morgan one, where it's more in depth and more in detailed about a life. Now, I can't wait to see what they actually do with Keith. It's been a short time, but the background about him, his life, how everything went from, moving from with his switching parents and stuff, going from, a love of football to a love of wrestling because his grandmother helped him out, him being homeless, the 3 or 4 times he got rejected from WWE, was interesting. And that's like a story a lot of people have, just to show that it is possible to actually get through hardships in order to make it through. We'll see what happens. The way the story ends, they bring it all up to, Tim Brooks, and then about what happened with them at the American Bash and up to the beginning. I'm really excited to see if they keep doing stuff with Keith, because the fact that Keith is a phenomenal talent. A lot of people forget he was a multi-champion in different promotions. He was, the NXT double champion for a little bit. I mean, I would love absolutely see him in a program with Daniel Bryan and himself for the IC title at some point if they do a draft, but only time will tell and go from there. But I can't believe, like, come on, bro nuts, man. Why are you going to do stuff like that? It doesn't make a lot of sense, and this is why Raw is lackluster. There's some good matches on it, but for me right now, lately, Raw is kind of burning out. It's interesting to see where they go because they have to make Raw a lot better. They're making SmackDown amazing. NXT is completely great, and Hunter's controlling that. So is that the case where you're going to question whether it's time to control, Raw for Hunter and let Sean take over? I mean, it's hopefully something where we can be excited about and go from there. Eventually, we'll see what happens. So it's one of them days where everything has to come into place and all the stars align. So we'll see. Long couple of days. The whole Roman thing with Jay, it almost seems like they're going to end that storyline real quick. It's going to be fun to see where things go, and hopefully it does. It's interesting that how he is predominantly. I can't stop thinking about that. That's so funny that he started the Grinch thing too, Ron. But Tim and Ron, you're more welcome to hop on. I already sent the links. Let me know. But either way, it's going to be interesting to go from there. Let's see what's going on. Oh, man. It's going to be a long night, huh? It just feels like recently everything is not clicking for some reason. I don't know why. I'm hoping with 2021, because I've been so tired and drained as of late, that things will change. For me, more so, it's just I had all these hopes and dreams towards the tail end of the year, and it just hasn't happened. And I think for me, show-wise, I've kind of let people down. I don't know. I take a harder beating on myself than usual, to be honest and be candid. If not something else to happen, and I'm just hoping that something positive will happen. Kind of like, the round tables, stuff like that. I don't know. But it's probably going to be a really short show. Just a lot on my mind and just tired a lot. So, yeah. Have a good night, guys. I'm going to cut it short.